Dear students, welcome to this session. In this session, we are going to look into the more details about the AC fundamentals. In the last section, we looked into what is a alternating current or the alternating voltages, or we can call it as alternating entities, are nothing but the entities will keep on changing their magnitude with respect to the time, and also they might change the direction. So any quantity that continuously changes its magnitude or direction or both with respect to the time is called as a alternating current. And we have talked about the sinusoidal waveform. Out of all the waveforms, we for alternating current and the voltage, the sinusoidal waveform is chosen. The sinusoidal waveform will look like this. So this is drawn, either you can consider it as a voltage or a current representation. It will start with a zero value, and it will gradually increase. It will reach a peak value, and that peak value is represented by Vm, that is the peak value of the voltage, or Im, that is the peak value of the current. And from that peak value, again it will start decreasing. Then at this point it will become zero, and it will change its direction. Now the magnitude was changing, now it has changed the direction, and in the opposite direction it will reach a peak value, that is minus Vm or minus Im, and again it will gradually decrease and it will become a zero, and then the same cycles will keep on repeating. And during the positive cycle, that is the first half cycle, the voltage source, this is the alternating voltage source. If it is connected to a resistor, the current will flow in this direction. Means when it is half cycle, this particular terminal will work as a positive and this is negative. Current will flow like this until it becomes zero. Then once it changes its direction in the second half cycle, the current direction will also be changed. Now earlier the current was flowing like this, now the current will flow in the opposite direction for the next half cycle. Again the next third cycle, the current will flow like this. Fourth cycle, current will flow like this. So as the voltage is changing its direction, the current will also keep on changing its direction every half cycle. This is a complete full cycle, and this is half cycle. This is half cycle. This half cycle is a positive cycle, and this is a negative half cycle. And both the positive cycle is exactly same as the negative cycle. And we also saw the advantages of having a sine waveform. Sine waveform is very smooth and it is a very efficient waveform, whether it is with respect to capacitor or inductor or transformer. The amount of disturbances that is caused in those elements is very less. And another advantage is whenever we apply the sinusoidal voltage, like a three-phase alternating voltage to three-phase winding, then it will produce a rotating magnetic field, which we will try to understand in later chapters. The computations that are associated with the sinusoidal are much easier. The AC current flows through a resistor or a capacitor or inductor or a transformer, which is not true for the other kind of a waveform. So sinusoidal is the one. The sinusoidal voltage will produce the sinusoidal current, which is not true for the other waveforms. The sinusoidal voltage, it helps in the power transmission by increasing it to the very high voltages using the transformers, which will help in reducing the transmission losses. And how do we generate the alternating voltage? For generating the alternating voltage or current, it follows the Faraday's laws of electromagnetic induction. Two laws are there. Faraday's first law, which tells us about how EMF is induced in a particular coil or a conductor, and second one will tell about magnitude, how much EMF is induced. So Faraday's first law, if you answer this question, how EMF is induced, that itself is a Faraday's first law. That is, whenever the flux linked with a coil or a conductor changes and EMF is induced in that particular coil or a conductor. That is the Faraday's first law. And how much EMF is induced? The magnitude of the EMF induced is directly proportional to the rate of change of the flux linkage with that particular conductor or a coil. Now we will consider, we'll see how the EMF is generated, how alternating current is generated, how alternating quantities are generated with an example. So we'll consider one conductor which is placed in a magnetic field of constant flux density of B Weber per meter square, and the length of the conductor is L. Okay, L is the length of the conductor, and this conductor is going to be placed in a magnetic field having a density of B Weber per meter square as shown in this particular diagram. Okay, and this particular conductor is rotated in a circular path with the angular velocity of omega or linear velocity of v. Okay, so this is the magnet. You can just imagine there is a magnet on the top and magnet on the bottom, and in between there is a space and there is a magnetic field, and inside this magnetic field we have this conductor. So you can see this is a conductor, and this conductor, what you are seeing is a front view. So in the front view, what you see for the conductor is as a circle, and this conductor is having a length of L meter, and this conductor is rotated in this magnetic field, and the magnetic field density is B Weber per meter square. So these are the magnetic lines of force, and this conductor is rotated in this magnetic field with the angular velocity of omega or linear velocity of v meter per second. Now we'll consider this particular example. So initially assume that we have placed the conductor in position number 1, and from position number 1 we will start rotating the conductor towards the position number 2. At position number 1, if you see, when I am moving like this is the direction of motion, and this is the direction of the flux. The angle between them is 0. Whenever the angle between the flux and the direction of motion is 0, the flux cut by this conductor is 0. When the flux cut by the conductor is 0, the amount of EMF that is induced is 0. We know how much EMF is produced. It depends on how much flux it will cut. Now, so if I represent the voltage, it would be the on the I will draw on a graph. On the y-axis I have a voltage, and on the x-axis this is the representation of the time. This is the 0th time where it is not cutting a flux. Voltage induced is 0 in that particular conductor. So this conductor starts rotating with the velocity and it reaches the position 2, and in the position 2 the direction of motion is like this, that is exactly perpendicular to the lines of magnetic flux. So the angle between the direction of motion of the conductor and the direction of the magnetic flux is 90-degree. Whenever it is the 90-degree, the flux cut by this conductor is maximum. So whenever the flux cut by this conductor is maximum, EMF induced in this particular conductor is also maximum. So if I represent this, so this is the time taken by the conductor from reaching from position 0 to 2. So that time taken is represented by an angle pi by 2. And if I mark that, this would be the maximum flux, the maximum EMF that is induced in the conductor as EM. EM is the maximum EMF induced. Now, from position 2, I continue to rotate that conductor, and it reaches the position number 3. At position number 3, the direction of motion is exactly downwards, which is in parallel with the magnetic flux. So, angle between them is 0. Therefore, the flux cut by this conductor at position number 3 is 0. Therefore, EMF induced in that conductor is also 0. If I represent this position, so this is the angle pi. It has moved to this much time pi. and EMF induced is 0. Now we continue to rotate that conductor and take it to the position number 4. At position number 4, the direction of motion is like this. Okay, this is the direction of motion, and this is the direction of the flux. So angle between them is 90-degree, that is the maximum angle. So flux cut by the conductor is also maximum. So EMF induced in that particular conductor is also maximum. But if you see here, in position number 2, the flux cut was maximum, so EMF is induced was maximum, but it was under the north pole. Now, at position number 4, the flux cut by the conductor is maximum, EMF is induced is maximum, but it is under the opposite pole. Therefore, the EMF induced will be in the opposite direction. So you can see, if you plot that one, it would be, we will have a minus EM. If I plot that, we will get it as minus EM. This EM magnitude wise, it is exactly same as this one, only it is a with a negative sign, that is representing minus direction. From position 4, we continue to rotate that conductor, and it will come back to the original position, that is first position. Now in this position again, the direction of motion is exactly like this, vertical upwards, and the direction of the flux is like this, angle between them is 0. At position number 1, flux cut by the conductor is 0, so the EMF induced is also 0. If I plot this one, okay, 2 pi, then we have, this is the 0, EMF induced, voltage induced is 0. So if I join these all these lines, so I get a sine waveform. Okay, so if I consider any intermediate position, suppose if I consider intermediate position here, the angle between this would be the direction of motion. So suppose you assume the conductor is here, the direction of motion is like this, and this is the direction of the flux. Angle between them is theta. So what would be the flux cut by that particular conductor? It is proportional to sine theta. So the flux cut by that is proportional to sine theta, and EMF induced at this position is also proportional to the sine theta, which is representative of some value here. So if I consider angle theta here, it would be the value that would be proportionally induced in this particular conductor. So, and this conductor will be now like a voltage source, and if I connect any resistor across that, it will make a closed path. Then we will have a current inside that resistor. That current would be also like a alternating, which would be similar to this one. So same thing is explained when at position 1, conductor is position 1, it moves parallel to the flux lines, hence cuts no flux. Therefore, EMF induced in that conductor is 0. Position number 2, this is the position number 2. When conductor moves to position 2 after rotating and 90-degree or pi by 2 radians, it cuts the maximum flux, and EMF induced in the that conductor is also maximum and equal to EM, that is the peak value. And when it is reaches the position number 3, you remember, this is the position number 3. Again, let the conductor moves to the position number 3, again moves parallel to the flux. Hence it would be parallel to the flux, means angle between the direction of motion and the flux is 0. Hence no flux is cut, no EMF is induced. When it comes back to the position number 4, this is the position number 4, the flux, the position now conductor is perpendicular to the flux, and current in the conductor is cut by the conductor is maximum. And if we use the Fleming's right hand rule to know how the particular what is the direction of the voltage, that can be found out using the Fleming's right hand rule. And what is the Fleming's right hand rule? If you hold your right hand, forefinger, middle finger and the thumb at 90 degree to each other, and when the where the forefinger points to the direction of the flux and thumb points to the direction of the motion, then the middle finger will show the direction of the current. Okay, so that is how we can find the direction. Here, simple analogy here is at position number 2, it was under the north pole, so it is a positive voltage. Under south pole, it would be opposite to that is negative. So that is how the at position number 4, the direction changes, and when it comes back to the position number 1, it will become again 0. So this is called as a one cycle. This is called as a one cycle of a alternating voltage. Now you can see it went to the position 1, 2, 3, 4 and back to 1. It produced one cycle. So one rotation of the conductor is responsible for one cycle. When the conductor makes another rotation, we will have a one more cycle. So as the conductor continuously rotates, so it keeps on generating the cycles. And if you remember, your household connection is alternating current and about 230 volts. And if I ask what is the frequency, you will tell 50 hertz. Yes, 50 hertz is the household frequency, alternating voltage frequency that is used in India. So 50 hertz, what is the meaning of 50 hertz is, hertz is nothing but frequency is cycles per second. 50 cycles per second. What is the meaning of your household supply voltage? There are 50 such cycles per second. Means in 1 second, there are such 50 cycles. That is the meaning. Now, uh, okay, when the conductor is moving to position 1, it completes one cycle. At this position, there is no EMF induced. Okay, so let us consider any instant position, that is theta I showed you. When at that position, so showed you the position. Let us say instead of having like 1, 2, 3, 4, let me consider this position. At this position, the angle between the direction of motion and the direction of the flux is theta. At that point of time, what is the EMF induced? The EMF induced at that position is directly proportional to sine theta. So theta is the whatever the angle between the direction of the motion and the flux. So how much EMF is induced is directly proportional to the sine of the angle. So here you can see here, when the conductor is at position 1 and 3, the angle is 0. Sine of 0 is 0. That is why the EMF induced is 0. And when the conductor was at position 2 and 4, the angle between the direction of motion and the flux is 90 degree. So sine of 90 is 1. So that is when it creates the maximum voltage. Now if I remove this direction of this is the proportionality sign, what I get, EMF induced is equal to B into L into V into sine theta. That is the formula, where B is the flux density in measured in Weber per meter square. L is the length of the conductor. V is the linear velocity with which we are rotating the conductor. So how the EMF, so the what is the value of the EMF, this BLV will decide the how much EMF is induced, and it is proportional to the angle, sine of the angle. And we know that when this angle is 90 degree, E is equal to BLV. That means that is the maximum value we can produce, and that is represented with the EM. Okay, capital E and suffix M is equal to BLV. So how the voltage will depend, if flux density is more, the EM value would be more. If the length of the conductor is more, obviously it will cut more flux, EM value would be more. If the velocity is more, the rate of flux linkage is very high, so that EM value would be high. So if BLV is more, obviously EM value will be more and the instantaneous values would be also be more. So this BLV is EM. That is how we represent E is equal to EM sine theta. Okay. So if we are representing the voltage, we sinusoidal voltage as a mathematical equation, we will represent it as E is equal to capital EM sine theta, where capital EM is BLV. Okay. And sometimes we represent the voltage in lowercase v. Lowercase v is equal to uppercase Vm sin theta. V is equal to Vm sin theta. One thing you have to note is, in case of a alternating quantities, we represent them with a lowercase. Okay, lowercase e or lowercase v is the voltage, lowercase I is the current, and uppercase E suffix M is the peak value of the voltage, or capital V suffix M is also the peak value of the voltage. Similarly, capital I suffix M is the peak value of the current. Similarly, this is how we represent the E is equal to Em sin theta. That is how we represent the voltage. Similarly, lowercase I is equal to Im sin theta. That is how we represent the current. And other forms of this equation is, we can say I is equal to Im sin omega t. This theta can be represented as a omega t, where omega is the angular velocity, and we know that omega is equal to 2 pi f. And what is the f? F is the frequency of the alternating current. We can also represent it as I is equal to Im sin 2 pi f t. So how we can represent the equation? Either I is equal to Im sin theta, or I is equal to Im sin omega t, or I is equal to Im sin 2 pi ft. Similarly, for voltage, we can represent that as V is equal to Vm sin theta, and V is equal to Vm sin omega t, or V is equal to Vm sin 2 pi ft, depending upon the what are the different parameters are given. We can use different values, different equations. Okay, now whenever we have a sinusoidal quantity, okay, sinusoidally varying quantity, there are important definitions associated with that particular waveform. First one is the instantaneous value. What is the instantaneous value? We know that alternating quantities are continuously changing its values. Therefore, instantaneous value means what? A value of a alternating quantity at a particular point of time. If I take a sine waveform, at particular time, what is the voltage or what is the current? That is called as an instantaneous value. In this case, if you consider this equation, I is equal to Im sin omega t, at particular time, what is the value of I? So this lowercase I, lowercase e, those are called as the instantaneous values. So instantaneous values, lowercase v or lowercase e for the instantaneous voltage, lowercase I for the instantaneous current. So these are represented, these are the values at those particular instance of time. Then amplitude or the peak value. So every sinusoidal waveform has a peak value. That peak value is called as the amplitude, and it is a constant for a given waveform. So Vm or V suffix m or capital E suffix m, these are the peak value or the amplitude of the voltage, and I suffix m is the peak value or the amplitude of the current. And now in your household, you say that 240 is the voltage. Now we will think, what is that 240 volt? Is it Vm? No, it is not a Vm. So we will come to that in a little later. We'll understand what is that 240. And also we will come up with a mathematical equation for your household voltage. Then frequency. What is the frequency? Number of cycles per unit time per second is called as a frequency. So in your household, your supply frequency is 50 hertz. That means what? You have 50 cycles in 1 second. So frequency is number of cycles per second is called as a frequency, and it is measured in a unit of voltage, sorry, in a unit of hertz or cycles per second. This instantaneous value voltage V and E are measured with volts, I with ampere, amplitude Vm Em represented in volts, and Im represented in the ampere. Then time period. What is a time period? The time taken for completing one cycle is called as a time period. So total time taken to complete one cycle is called as a time period and represented in second. Alternation. What is alternation? Alternation is nothing but time taken to complete half a cycle is called as alternation, and it is represented in seconds. Instantaneous value. This is the value of EMF or current in induced in a conductor at any instant of the time. Amplitude or the peak value, the maximum value attained by the alternating quantity is called as a amplitude or the peak value. For voltage and EMF denoted by EM, capital EM, and for current, capital IM. Frequency f represented with the lowercase f, the number of cycles occur in 1 second is called as a frequency, and it is measured in the cycles per second or hertz. And we know that in India we have 50 hertz. Some other country, every country follows their own standards. For example, United States of America, they have a standard of 60 hertz. Okay, their frequency is 60 hertz and their voltage is 110 volt. Time period. It is the time taken to complete one cycle of an alternating quantity, and it is represented by capital T and measured in seconds. And the relation between the time period and frequency is capital T is equal to 1 by f, okay, where f is the frequency, or f frequency is equal to 1 by t. So with respect to this waveform, we will reiterate those values. Let me complete the alternation. Alternation what? One half cycle of an alternating quantity is called as a alternation. So time taken for half cycle. Okay, let us begin. Now this is the x-axis representing the instantaneous value of the voltage or instantaneous value of the current. Then this is the a timeline. This can be represented in angle or it can be represented in the time. Now, so what is the instantaneous value? Instantaneous value is the value of the alternating quantity at any instant. So we have so many time instances. At any time instant, whatever the voltage or the current, that is called as a instantaneous value, represented with lowercase v or lowercase I. That is the equation. V is equal to Vm sin omega t. Here we have, you can see E is equal to Em sin theta. And next, this is the peak value. What is the peak value or the amplitude? This is the maximum value attained by the alternating quantity is called as a amplitude, represented as capital Em or capital Im. Then we have this is the one cycle. To complete one cycle, how much time it will take, that is called as a, this is called as a time period. From this point to this point, whatever the time is taken, that is called as a time period, represented with the capital T letter. And what is the alternation? Alternation is time taken to complete half a cycle. Okay, that is called as a alternation. And what is the frequency? Frequency is number of such cycles per second, that is called as a frequency. So this is a simple example where we will solve, we'll find the instantaneous value. The maximum current in a sinusoidal AC circuit is 10 amperes. This is what IM. IM 10 amperes. What is the instantaneous current at 45 degrees? So they have given us an angle at this 45 degree. What would be the current value? and they have given the peak value. So always whenever you are representing the alternating quantity, the mathematical equation is what? I is equal to Im sine theta. Here they have given the degree, so I is equal to Im sine theta. So equation is I is equal to Im sine theta. Im is given, that is 10 amperes. Theta is given 45 degrees. So you calculate I is equal to 10 into sine of 45 degree. So you have to make sure your calculator either it is in radians or degrees. Here you, if you are using 45, make sure your setting is set to degree. If your setting is uh, radians, make sure you convert this into radians. How to convert this into radians? So you know that it is 45 degree into pi by 180 degree. So that will tell that is pi by 4, that is the radians. You get the answer as 7.07 ampere. What is the meaning of that? When we have 45 degree, the instantaneous value of the current is 7.07 amperes. Next, write a mathematical expression for a 50 Hz sinusoidal voltage of peak value 80 volt. Sketch the waveform. So first what we have to do, mathematical expression for 50 Hz voltage. So 50 Hz means what? F is given, F is equal to 50 Hz of a peak value. This is Vm, capital Vm or capital Em is given. And we know what is the mathematical equation for the sinusoidal entity. In this case, it is voltage. Either E is equal to Em sine omega t, or V is equal to Vm sine omega t. So here we will use the form because frequency is given, omega is equal to 2 pi f. We will use that one. So f is given 50 hertz, peak value Vm 80 volt, and frequency is given. So we'll calculate omega. Omega is equal to 2 pi f, that is 2 pi into 50. We get it as 314 radians per second. Now, what is the equation, mathematical equation? We will use the third form. Either we can use it as V is equal to Vm sine omega t, or V is equal to V is equal to Vm sin theta, V is equal to Vm sin omega t, or V is equal to Vm sin 2 pi ft. So 2 pi f already we calculated, omega we got, we can use lowercase v is equal to Vm sin omega t, and omega is 314. So instantaneous, the mathematical expression of the instantaneous voltage is V is equal to 80 sine of 314 t. And how to draw the waveform? So you can take a graph page. On the graph page, you can set a scale for the voltage, and you can set the scale for the time. Okay. And what is the, how to know what is the time taken for the one cycle? That is nothing but a time period. And what is time period? T is equal to 1 divided by f, that is 1 divided by 50, which will get 20 into 10 raised to minus 3 second, or 20 millisecond. So in order for one cycle to complete, it will take 20 millisecond. So accordingly you choose the x-axis. So here in the exam you need not have the and need not get the graph. What you have to do is just make sure that you draw a clean sinusoidal waveform, mark the peak value. So x-axis would be V, and sorry, y-axis would be V, x-axis would be t in millisecond, and peak value you represent as 80 volt. This is the peak value, and you have to represent this time period, that is 20 millisecond. So your household connection is 50 hertz. That means the voltage inside your house, it is making one cycle in 20 milliseconds. Next problem. An alternating current is given by I is equal to 141.4 sine 314 t. Find maximum value, second frequency, third time period, and fourth instantaneous value at, you can take it as at 3 millisecond. So we know this is the instantaneous equation, okay, of the current. We have to find maximum value. Now this equation is similar to I is equal to Im sine 2 pi ft, right? So this is nothing but Im. So maximum value is Im, that is 141.4 amperes. And frequency, how to find the frequency? Match this equation, with this. I is equal to Im sine omega t. So Im is 141.4 amperes, and omega, this omega is equal to 314, and omega is equal to 2 pi f, and 2 pi f is equal to 314. Therefore f is equal to 314 divided by 2 pi, that we get it as 50 hertz. And what is the next thing we have to find? Frequency. So frequency you already found. Time period, what is time period? Capital T is equal to 1 by f. So 1 by 50 you get it as 0.02 seconds or 20 milliseconds. Next, what you have to do is you have to find the instantaneous value at 3 millisecond. So in this equation, you have to substitute 3 millisecond, and you have to make sure that one important aspect here is make sure that you convert this time into second. So 3 millisecond is nothing but 3 into 10 raised to minus 3 second. And when you are putting this value, okay, this would be in radians. Make sure your calci is in radians, and sine of 314 into 3 into 10 raised to minus 3, that is a radian. Sine of that, you will get a value, multiply it with 141.4, you will get I is equal to 114.35 amperes. Okay, so if in your exam, to know whether whatever the you calculated is roughly correct or not, how to do that is a simple way. So what we have to find, what is the instantaneous value at 3 millisecond. So let us go back to the waveform. Let me see. Okay, waveform is not there. We can use the previous waveform because frequency is same. So this is the 20 millisecond. Frequency is same. That's why I'm using this waveform. And this would be the half of the cycle is 10 millisecond. Half of this is high 5 millisecond. So at 5 millisecond, I will be having the peak value, and uh, 3 millisecond is a little more than half of this. Okay, somewhere here. So we can assume some value here. And what is the peak value given for the current? The peak value is 141.4. So it should be very close to, not very close, it is around a little bit closer to that value. So that is how we get it as 114.35. If you nicely draw the waveform, then roughly you can estimate. If it is on the graph, definitely you can find out what is the value at 3 milliseconds. Just move 3 millisecond on the x-axis and take the vertical line which touches the waveform. That value on the y-axis is the instantaneous value of the current. So next problem, an alternating current of a frequency 60 hertz has a maximum value of 120 amperes. This is 120 amperes. Write down the equation for the instantaneous value. Whenever say equation, I is equal to Im sine omega t if it is a current, okay, and omega t or 2 pi f t or theta is dependent on, if frequency is given, you can use 2 pi f t. So that is the equation. Time from the instant the current is 0 and become positive, find the instantaneous value at, you can take at 1 by 360 seconds. So we have to find uh, uh, the instantaneous value of the current when t is equal to 1 by 360. Then third one is time taken to reach 96 amperes for the first time. So what we have to do is we have to find the time when the current reaches for the first time 96 ampere. So note down the given values. F is 60 hertz, Im is 120 amperes. So first equation, I is equal to Im sine omega t, omega is 2 pi f, F is given 2 pi into 60, it comes as 377. Equation of the instantaneous value of the current, lowercase I is equal to 120 sine of 377t. And next, what we have to find? Next, you have to find what is the instantaneous value of the current at t is equal to 1 by 360 second. So you take this equation, substitute t with 1 by 360. Okay, and make sure this is in radians. Your calculator is in radians. Sine of this value is what you have to use, 1, and multiply it with 120. You get it as the answer as 103.92 amperes. Now third question is, what is the time it takes to reach a value of 96 amperes for the first time? So we have to take the same equation. What is this 96 amperes? This is the instantaneous value. So at what time this instantaneous value reaches? Use the same formula. I is equal to Im sine omega t. Equation I is equal to 120 2 pi ft. Here instantaneous value is 96. 120 sine of 2 pi 60 into t. So t is unknown here. Now what you have to do is 96 divided by 120 you have to calculate. Now sine of uh, this is okay 120. This is 120 ft is equal to 96 by 120. Then sine inverse, whatever right hand value you get, sine inverse of that value. Okay, once you get the sine inverse of that value, then you divide that value by 120f. That is what the timing you will get. So if you do that calculation, you get t is equal to 0.00246 seconds. So these are the important equations you must remember. First one is the time period and the frequency. T is equal to 1 by f. F is equal to 1 by t. F is the frequency in hertz or cycles per second, and time period t is the time taken to complete one cycle, represented in second. Angular velocity, omega is equal to 2 pi f, or f is equal to omega by 2 pi. And frequency and the speed. So the speed equation right now, you don't worry, we'll look it in the alternator section. So now already we saw how the waveform is represented. The alternating quantity is represented as a waveform and also as a mathematical equation. So how did we drew the waveform? When we are drawing the waveform, two important things has to be represented on the waveform. One is the peak value, and the second is the time period, that is the time taken to complete one cycle. So all the alternating quantities can be represented as a waveform, but comprehending the waveform is not very easy. If they give the waveform as a sinusoidal waveform, it's very difficult to comprehend. So the next easy way is the mathematical equation. So how we represented the alternating quantity as a equation, that is v is equal to vm sine omega t, or I is equal to im sine omega t. That is the mathematical expression. Even with a mathematical expression, if I tell you a household equation as a mathematical equation, it's very difficult to comprehend. But how do you tell your household voltage? Even though it is alternating, you say it is 230 volt. You are telling a fixed value, so that is very easy to understand. But how to how to represent it as a 230, how to represent a alternating quantity as a one entity? So that is a one way to represent. There are two ways to other than waveform and a mathematical equation. The alternating quantities can be represented as a average value, or it can be represented as a rms value or a root mean square value. The household voltage, when you say it is 230 volts, it is nothing but a RMS value. When we talk about how to get the RMS value, I will tell you how to. Now I told you 230 volts is a RMS value of your household connection. Then we will write a mathematical equation for your household value. So once we complete RMS value, next average value. So same alternating quantities can be represented as a average value. So all of you understand how do we calculate the average value? Let us say for your results, you have 5 subjects and you have scored 80, 70, 85, then 82, then 70. So you have scored some marks. You will average it out. You will take those 5 values, add them together, and divide by 5 subjects. That is what the average value you get. Similarly, what we can do is we can take all the instantaneous values. Right now, we saw the instantaneous value. At various instants, we get the instantaneous value. So we can take the instantaneous values and divide by number of instants or the number of samples we are taking. That is how we represent the average value. We'll see how what is the equation that we get for the average value and what is the equation we get RMS value in the next session. Okay, in the next session we will look into the what is the average value calculation, how average value of a waveform can be calculated, and based on that we will solve some problem.